Hello and very warm welcome everyone. It's Marta here. My friends, I have this folder which is filled with the all kinds of dies, and this is something I receive. For those of you who've been watching my channel for longer, you do know that I receive a lot, and I mean really a lot of crafty goodies which were passed to me by a retired art teacher, and some of the things I'm still sorting out. And I haven't been open up this folder for such a long time that I don't even remember. Like by the time I was reaching for it, I didn't even remember what was there. But I want to make sure I am playing with all these goodies. I'm just wanting to make sure that I'm making the most use out of it, because they were given to me with love, and I just want to keep loving those crafty goodies and give them proper attention. Today's card is actually the result of me coming to my craft studio without any specific plan, without any specific idea or need for creating the card. We had a very good family day. We went on a short trip to the kind of like a heritage center. So we were watching all this like village, which was like, showing us how the people live like 200 years ago. That was really exciting. And, my son loved it and we loved it. And once we come back, the boys were start watching some movie. And I've decided, okay, let me jump on half an hour and let's create something. So for today's card, I've decided to create my own background. I smooshed some inks, mainly like shades of the green and blue, and this is this coated card which I don't like. I've bought the whole packaging, actually a couple of them in BM, and these were coated with something. They're not suitable for printing, but I'm not giving up on this paper. And I think it's having this nice surface for doing the smooshing technique. The ink is not truly seeping through, but it's staying on the surface thanks to that coating. So I was super happy with the results I was given. So here I did a splashy background, no rhyme and reason here, just something to, add the color. And at this point, I had totally different expectation toward this card, but it ended up something totally different, but it's nice. I actually surprised myself, so I'm happy with it. And let me know, my friends, how often do you craft the same way? Are you always sitting down with the specific idea, or you letting your creative juices flowing? Either way, whatever you do, as long as you're happy and you're giving yourself that me time for expressing your creativity, that is just fabulous. But I do like from time to time to go outside the box and try different things, try new approach or technique. So here I just sit down without any kind of expectation on how this card should be or for what occasion it should be. I just grabbed the bunch of supplies and I was like, okay, I've got half an hour for myself, so let me create something. I have this calligraphy ink, and unfortunately I left it open for a little bit longer. I actually forgot about it, and that was sitting on my other desk for a couple, I think like 2 days or something. So it got pretty much thick, this white calligraphy ink. So that's why I'm just taking a little bit of it on my like watercolor palette, and then I'm just like spraying it with water to slightly dilute it. Now my card, it's gonna be like almost A5 size card, because I wanted to create something nice, something bigger. I always feel that the larger card, slightly larger card than just like A6, it's looking a little bit more elegant. I grabbed this kind of a teal color paper, and this is like a pearl color cardstock, and then I've at first I thought I'm gonna trim it to have this white border, like thinny white border all around my card. But then I just thought, if I will use the embossing folder, I'm gonna be actually chopping my paper smaller, so there's no point for cutting this large teal mat if my paper, like main focal point, it will be smaller. So I've just measured myself 2 dots accordingly to the size of this embossing folder, and as you can see, the white edge will be much more wider. Oh, that's a tongue twisting. But anyway, my another tip I just want to say to you, my friends, if you're creating those splashy smooshing technique background, try to work on slightly larger paper, so that way you end up with those like extra strips, which you can see I've cut up here. This is a great thing which you can then bring to the inside of your card or onto the envelope. That will be a great addition to dress up your inside card with having the same style as you use on the background. Because once you do a splashy technique, you will never be able to recreate the same design. Like, even if you start over from the next color, next paper, it's never gonna be exactly the same. Now here I wanted to enhance this right edge of the embossing folder, so I'm grabbing the brayer, and this is far better than smooshing the ink directly on the paper, because if you've got the large opening spaces like I have here, it will be almost impossible to do it neatly with the ink pad itself. But if you grab the brayer, you add the color to the brayer, and then you roll over the surface, you will make sure that only the things which are raised are colored. To add a little bit more depth to this handmade background paper, I am adding a drop of the ink to the edges. Here I'm just having a sip of a coffee and then going back to work. So as you can see, it's just took me a few minutes to create this beautiful background paper, and this is something which could really give this handmade effect to your card. And if you don't have many of the design papers, if you don't have many of the beautiful paper pads, always remember that you could create something on your own, and that way you could actually fit it to your needs. Like, so if you've got specific colors in mind, if someone asks you to create the card in the color scheme which you don't have many design papers in, this is your way to go. That way you can create everything, anything you possibly can think of. If you've got some colors of the inks, like distress inks or other inks, watercolor paints, especially one set of the watercolor paints can take you such a long way, because you can mix and match those colors, and you could be able to create a countless color combination just with that. Here I've glue matte and layer together, and then I am adding it on top of the card. I'm just using regular glue, and I adhere it slightly towards the top to actually keep the same border all around. I slightly trim the outside edge as well, just so I could keep the balance in between the edges. And now I am reaching for one of those elegant labels. I do believe that this is Spellbinder set. Unfortunately, all these dies which I received, they haven't been signed up in any way. I do recognize most of the brand by the look. I know pretty much, I could tell this is like Tattered Lace, this is like a Spellbinder, but from time to time I am struggling with finding the names. So if in some of my videos I'm not giving you the names, it's just because I don't know them, so I'm so sorry for that. Now I've cut 2 labels, the larger one with the same coated cardstock, and then the smaller one with the sage color paper. And at this point I thought it's gonna be very elegant card. I was thinking like, oh, maybe I'll just put some other elements that will be like a feminine card. But when it come to dressing up the card, oh, and I actually destroyed this piece of the label that's just come off, but it doesn't matter, I just glue it down and no one will see it. And later on I will even cover it, so I didn't even remember that I had it there. So here I enhanced the design from the embossing folder with a little bit of the ink and going outside the edges. That's really add the depth to your elements. I'm using the cardboard because I have tons of them, and I've just plugged my hot glue gun, so it wasn't ready. But because I was kind of rushing, and here you can see I am fixing up this little bit, which I've glued together, and it's just looking fine. So because my hot glue gun is still heating up, I was very impatient. I just used regular glue, and then I actually adhered this piece on the top side instead of the back, and I only realized it here, like, oh no, what did I do? But because I have another piece to go up front of it, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Mistakes happen, especially if we are on the rush. I knew I was like limited with the time because my husband was going to work later on, because he is working a night shift just now. So I just wanted to make sure I'm gonna, finish making that video before he will go to work. And here it's something unexpected. I was looking on the embellishment, something which I can add to this card, and then I found this little like a kittens, and I thought, oh, why not make it a more, I would not say childish, but this fun critter card. So I've decided to fussy cut those two little kitten, the kitten and the mouse, and these are very old elements which I have from the Craft O'Clock company. I don't think that collection is even in sale anywhere because that was retired like a couple years back, so and I still have it. So that tells you like, oh, I'm not making the most out of my supplies. So this year, instead of the buying, of course, I'll be having some new things here and there, and I do receive some things through my, some crafty goodies through my cooperation and collaborations with different companies. But apart from that, I'll be just limiting myself to using up what I have already, so you can see a little bit more of the older goodies. But I hope you don't mind me. You can always supplement with something you already own or something to buy on the market. There's alternative basically to everything. There's such a abundance with crafting goodies nowadays that even if one set is retired or something, you can always find some substitute for it and something similar. So here I use the sentiment, which was also coming from the same folder with the dice, and I've cut from the same teal color cardstock which I was using to create the matte layer for this front panel, and now I'm just using some flowers to dress it up. And as I've mentioned at the beginning, no expectation here. I am just freely crafting, letting my creativity flow, and at some point, like here, I was thinking, am I going the good direction? Like, what am I doing here? But if the card, it doesn't look like what would you like at this point, I thought like, I don't even know. I've adhered those flowers. I'm not sure if they're looking good here, if it's matching. Just keep going. If you're unhappy with the result, that means that your card is not ready yet and maybe needs a little bit more. So here I decided, rather than giving up, I'm just gonna build up my flower composition and see if that will make the card, look better. And it definitely did. And reaching the flower composition, adding way more elements than just one or two flowers, that really helped this card to create this like unique feature. Like, I think this is like kind of the unusual card for me. Maybe it's still a little bit in my style, probably, because I'm doing some composition elements and I'm gonna add some string as well, things which I kind of work as my crafting signature. But it's definitely different style. And not very often I'm using those like a little cartoon animals and things like that, but I quite like it. I really enjoy how this card turned out. Let me know what you think about this card and what about like your creation. Are you switching the style? Do you like experiment with different, you know, materials, different styles? What's your favorite style? I am kind of leaning towards the elegant, shabby chic, very, very flowery cards, which I really enjoy making. But from time to time, I do believe that this is important to switch the colors, to switch the different elements, and, you know, just try to play with something else. Here, I'm adding more and more and more. And at some point, I was like, okay, we are going somewhere with this card. So, at the end, I was really happy how it's turned out, even though at first when I adhere those like first 2 or 3 flowers, I was like, oh no, I think I've ruined this idea. But eventually, having that larger composition, having this, rich composition of different flowers and leaves was actually what created this card looking really nice, fun, and elegant. So to finish it off, I've decided to add a little bow, and then on top of that, I'm gonna add a couple of those enamel dots which I found on my drawer, and I thought, oh, these are matching with the color. I was planning to use the water droplets, but then because I found this enamel dots, I've decided to use them up. Let me know if you enjoyed this card. Let me know if you enjoyed this video, and what else would you like to see on my channel. I'm super happy and thankful for everyone who are joining my YouTube family, and I want to make sure that I'm creating the best content for you. So anything you enjoy, anything you feel like you would like to see in more details, let me know. I'll be happy to hear. Here, a little bit close-up look on the card, and I must tell you, my friends, I'm super, super happy how it's turned out, even though I've started with no expectation at all. Thank you so very much. If you enjoy it, please don't forget to share, give a like, and a comment under the video. Stay blessed, my friends, and I will see you shortly.